Greetings, humans, Daleks, Time Lords, and Flux. You are listening to Exterminating Doctor Who, with your hosts, Aidan Gula.
And me, George Ellis.
And in today's episode, we are completing our review of Flux by talking about the rest of the series since the Halloween apocalypse.
Ooh.
Feels like a very long time ago now.
I know. I was a different person then.
Yes.
Happier.
Still doing the podcast. And not giving up.
Oh, hey, yeah, you're the one who's given up.
I'm too busy.
Yeah.
We did.
We'll be back. We'll be back.
We will be back. We will be back. But I do love that at the end of An Adventure in Space and Time, we're like, we'll be back next week with Rosa. That was 3 weeks ago.
Yep.
That hasn't happened. But it will in January. That'll be our first episode back in January.
Mm-hmm.
I've had to mix the schedule around a little bit and drop a couple of episodes, but it'll be fine.
Third year of university. Don't do it, folks.
Yeah. Don't try to do university, have a job, have a social life, have a podcast, all at the same time.
It doesn't
it's
really
not going
work.
to work.
No.
Pick 2 at max, not 4. But yes, yesterday was the 5th of November.
5th of November?
5th of November, yes. Remember. No, that's...
You're remembering so much, you can't forget it.
Time's in flux. Yesterday was the 5th of December.
Yep.
And the finale of Flux Series 13 aired. What the hell was it called? The Vanquishers. That was on yesterday. So, again, we watched it together. I know we spoke about a few of the episodes briefly on the other episodes. So now I've said that I think we actually spoke about 2 of the episodes briefly on the episodes. You know what I mean? When we said, let's do a little 10 minutes about... But I think I'm pretty sure the last one we did was Once Upon a Time, which was episode 3. So we didn't do many. So,
No.
So actually, we've got thoughts on record of the first 3 episodes, but the last 3 episodes, who knows what our thoughts are?
Yeah. What could they be?
Yes.
I don't know. What are they?
I want to get an overall opinion. At the end of this podcast, we will do our ratings for each one.
Mm-hmm.
Then we'll work out the average for both of us.
My rating system for stuff is a little bit harsher now because I've recently watched Arcane and I love that. So basically, if anything, I'm just comparing it to that. So
okay.
Let's say Doctor Who, you'll find out how it's doing.
Yeah. So 2 out of 10 for me. No, so overall though, what is your general feeling?
Okay, I will say that it's my favorite Jodie series by quite a bit. It's my favorite characterization of the Doctor by Jodie. It's my favorite writing of the Doctor by Chibnall, and it has my favorite Jodie episodes, probably plural, in it.
Yes.
That's what Flux is.
Yes.
But Flux as a series about one big arc, bit messy.
Yep.
Because my favorite episodes are the ones which do stuff.
It's quite standalone.
Yes. How about you?
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
I think if we really base this from last time, we were saying when we did Halloween Apocalypse and we were saying like too much going on, and people were responding to that with like, yeah, but it will all be paid off. And the question is, was it? I think a lot of it was. Some of it was rushed and they kind of just went, that's over now. But I think something that is very common to Chibnall episodes is he basically just throws the biggest guest cast you've ever seen at you, and then you kind of forget half of them are there.
That is one thing I noticed during the finale, bringing back all these characters. And here I'm thinking, the strongest part of the first episode for me was the small cast, was the focused companion team.
Yeah.
By the last episode, it's bigger than what we usually have with Chibnall, and I was just sitting there thinking, this is a bit annoying, honestly, because not only have you tripled the cast size, you've tripled the doctors.
Yeah, and I think that's really my complaint of this series. I think overall is that there was too much going on, and I'd say the last episode really was like, well, we need to cram 3 episodes into one. Hence why we've got 3 doctors, because it was 3 episodes crammed into one. And you can kind of go, well, they need that. They need to do that because there's a lot to pay off. And you go, yeah, but if you've only got 6 episodes, you need to trim how many storylines you've got. It's like he still had 9 storylines he wanted to do and only 6 episodes to do them in. So I went, yeah. So I think by the finale, I think we can really show that Bell and Vinda, pointless, didn't need them.
So many people were theorizing about that, and I was sitting here thinking, I hope it's not
The Doctor's parents.
Yes.
Yes.
But it could have still been something important. You didn't have to have it be absolutely nothing.
Nothing, yeah. Completely irrelevant.
Yeah, other than to maybe show what the crystal people were doing. But even then, we kind of knew what they were doing. And I think it would have been better than being more mysterious.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen somebody who said that, well, it was to show us a perspective of the flux of how it's decimating planets and that kind of thing. And I said, yeah, but do you remember that scene where there was the green people who got decimated by the flux? And they were like, oh, yeah. And I was like, we've already seen what the flux does. And we didn't really need to see it from another perspective.
The flux isn't like the Empire from Star Wars, where the Empire do lots of different terrible things. The flux just does one bad thing, and that is destroy everything. Yeah. So once we've seen it once, we've seen it a million times. So I do agree with you there. We didn't need it. We didn't need them.
Grand Serpent. Pointless.
One of the more interesting, pointless ones, though.
I think that the plot line he had with infiltrating UNIT and everything, I think that would have been a really interesting episode in another series.
Yes. Or even a special if you wanted it to be something.
Yeah. In this series, it felt out of place, irrelevant. UNIT was like, yeah, UNIT are back, but they're not going to do anything. You're not going to see them again.
But UNIT weren't really back.
Kate Stewart is here, but she's not going to be in the same frame as any other character because we don't really know what to do with her.
UNIT was shown again, but UNIT didn't return. It was only Kate Stewart who returned as the leader of this quote-unquote resistance that we never saw. Again,
we never saw them. We never knew what they did. Like, what did the resistance do?
So there's a resistance going on. Do I just take your word for that? Yes. Okay, right. Lovely. I love you, Kate Stewart, but...
You're pointless.
Yep.
So, yeah.
With that whole thing, imagine it as a special, like a big special, where it is the return of UNIT, and it's all about that. And it's all about... And maybe you could have even a cameo from Capaldi's Doctor set during the time of when UNIT was disbanded. I think it could have been a really nice, different Doctor Who special about the idea of UNIT coming back and kind of why it disbanded. Really delve into that because it's such an important part of Doctor Who, especially modern Who. It needed that.
Well, I'd say classic Who more than it is modern, but...
Yeah.
So, yeah, they're integral. So to write them out, they need a triumphant return. And this kind of went, here's your triumphant return. But it's completely irrelevant and you don't care about them.
And it wasn't a return. They're not returned.
It was like they're here. Maybe. If you want them. But we don't have any plans for them right now.
Yeah. Listen, I'm all for you leaving it vague so we can take interpretations because most of the stuff Chibnall has said has happened in set in stone has been. So I like that, but also I'd like something to happen. You know?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, a lot of these things I'm saying, people are criticizing because the Vanquishers episode 6 is getting destroyed on social media. People are saying it is the one. People are saying I've even seen someone that said it's the worst Chibnall episode. Going, definitely not, because I actually enjoyed it. But I think these problems aren't with that episode; they're with the series.
Yes,
because I mean, I tweeted my general thoughts after every single episode.
Yes, and I'd always review them to be like, do I agree with this or do I not? And most of the time,
it was yes.
Close.
Yeah. I mean, because the first tweet I put out was, I enjoyed it. Far too many storylines introduced 6 or 7.
Yes.
And, I think that was an episode, people saying, yeah, but they'll be paid off.
Mostly,
and then
yes.
Then it gets to episode 6. It's like, they've not been paid off. And it's like, these aren't isolated for either episode. It's for the series. There's too much going on.
It's quite funny. We were, at the start, too much. Yeah, but it'll be paid off. At the end, there's too much.
Yeah.
That's what we said.
Yeah. I mean, it says, I put there 6 or 7. I think didn't we work out it was something like 13 by the end of it? So I'm sure we counted it. It was something ridiculous. I think you need about 5 and just limit it there because that sustains you for the series. And
it's a lot to do when you, like with the UNIT thing, you could do that in another series. It's like, why are you trying to cram all these ideas into something when some of them are just, you should just get rid of entirely. But some of them you can use in somewhere else. Why waste ideas just for the sake of cramming it all in?
Yeah.
And then do another Dalek story for New Year's, which I'm going to watch, and it's Daleks, and Daleks are cool. But why not do something new?
Well, they are doing, it's a time loop story, isn't it?
I don't know much about it.
Yeah, it's a time loop, which is something I've been saying they should do for ages. Because I saw an episode of Star Trek Discovery when I tried watching that. Didn't finish the series.
I gathered by.
But I got quite far. Because it was one of those that was released in 2 parts. So I watched all of part 1, then part 2 came back, and I was like, do I care about this? Watched episode 1, I went, no, I don't, and gave up. But in part 1, they did a really good episode with Rainn Wilson was the villain, and they were stuck in a time loop on the ship. And I thought, it's like Groundhog Day, isn't it? How many other things have done time loop? And I thought, why has Doctor Who never done a time loop? And Chibnall was gone, I shall do you a time loop with Daleks. So that shot in the trailer, we see the Doctor get exterminated. They'll be dead, and then they come back. You know what I mean? So that is quite a new thing to see.
Oh, okay. Yes. Okay.
So I'm quite looking forward to that. Really.
He's doing something new. Right.
But I know what you said. There are 3 more specials to go. We know what that first one's going to be. We can gauge what the last one's going to be because it's going to be the big centenary special. The Doctor regenerates. Blah blah blah. That one in the middle, I know no information about, and I'm kind of thinking, couldn't that have been the Grand Serpent unit storyline?
I feel like what it's gonna be, either the finale's gonna have the Crystal dude back again, or the one just before is gonna have the Crystal dude back again. You know what I mean?
What are you on about?
The Crystal dude, the guy who's in the prison on Adropos.
Swarm and Azura.
Just Swarm.
But they're dead, aren't they?
No, because it was like some sort of trapped version killed themselves. It was very weird.
Well, that's the thing. A lot of people, some people, again, is this a problem with the Vanquishers of the series? I'd say this is probably a problem with the Vanquishers. But a lot of people are saying, was the Flux actually stopped then? And some people are going, I'm not sure. And like, if people say it, I actually saw a tweet earlier that made me laugh. And it said, because obviously the Flux is the thing that destroys the universe, and they've now stopped the Flux. People are saying, but has it been reset and the universe is fine? Or is the universe still in tatters? And somebody said in this tweet, they went, have we got evidence for either argument? And people going, it seems to be up for your interpretation. Because they haven't explained it. They've kind of just gone, the Flux is gone.
We know that for certain, because it was eaten up by a passenger.
It's destroyed, yeah. But is the universe still destroyed? Or is it reset? Because Swarm was saying that he wanted to do the Flux, stop it, reverse it, do it again. Stop it, reverse it, do it again, just to keep torturing the Doctor. And it's implied, but not confirmed, that the Doctor waited for it to be stopped and reversed and then got rid of it then. But it's like, does reversing it reset the universe? Or does it just take it back to where it was to do the same thing again, to keep doing that? Or all the planets here go, woof, woof. This really helps. If you're watching, please, this probably will help.
It's not even helping me, though.
Here is a planet. Here is the Flux. It takes it out.
Audio dramas, folks.
Yes. I work for Big Finish, don't you know? This is what's happened.
Yeah.
So when the Doctor destroys it, it's implied that it's come back to here and now it's gone away. But when it comes back to here, does this planet return? Or is it just a blank area now?
I'd assume it returns because it's a reset. What's the point of destroying?
But the Flux has been reset, not the universe has been reset.
I'm assuming it's...
Do you know what I mean?
This would be such an incredible Doctor moment. Imagine, I'm going to stop it right at the right moment. I'm going to save the universe. That could be a great 10-minute, 5-minute scene. Really kind of a proper, triumphant, with some good music. But they can't do that, so got rid of my gold. Would have been nice.
Is there actually any music in this episode?
There was a bit when the Doctor was jangling the fob watch over the console and dropped it.
Yeah.
Which was a moment I was like, God, it would have been great if Murray Gold was here because he could have used some proper...
That's a big dramatic.
But that's, yeah. So I don't know. I don't know whether the Flux is gone. But how the universe is right now, I don't know. Are all the Daleks and the things?
Because we saw
the Doctor commit a mass genocide.
We saw technically the Sontarans did the genocide. The Doctor just stood and watched. Technically,
no. Well, the Doctor, no. The Doctor committed one genocide, and that was on the Sontarans at the very least.
All right, yeah. But that's the thing, though, because it's like going. The idea was that was the entire Dalek fleet across the entire universe. Every single Dalek ever was there, and they all got wiped out.
Bit thick, though.
And then
the Daleks aren't that. Are they that dumb?
But then they're in the next time trailer.
they're probably going to have in the next one. We are the survivors. We are the cult of
Flux.
Del.
So I don't know. The thing is, I've said this since series 11. Chibnall's a big problem in the Chibnall era is that something happens, it's unclear what happens, and the Doctor just stands and explains it. And that happened in series 11, in series 12, and unfortunately continued into series 13, where by the end of this episode, the Doctor was explaining something, and then this, and then this, and then this, and then now we've done that, and now this, and you get to the end, you get, look, I need to see it, because when you're telling me, it means nothing to me. Unless I see what happens, I'm not going to understand this. And some people now going, don't say it's crap just because you didn't understand it. It's like, did you understand it?
There was nothing to understand.
Because there wasn't really like, sure, stuff was happening. You can follow it. I followed it. I didn't get to the end and go, what happened? As I did with episode 3, like what actually just happened there. I understood what happened, but you kind of go, but how much has been resolved? The thing is, I'm thinking though, is I think a lot of people had their aspirations way too high. Like people are saying, the Doctor's going to open the fob watch and get all these memories come out, and we're going to see doctors and doctors and doctors. We're going to see loads of stuff. We're going to have Bell and Vinda be revealed with the Doctor's parents. Flux is going to end with ripping open the multiverse, and the whole universe will be in tatters, and you see these things. And I'm kind of going, Chibnall has 3 episodes left. Do you really think all of this is going to be resolved in 3 episodes? Technically 2 episodes, because I doubt the Centenary special is going to be too heavy on lore, because it's going to be something the BBC are trying to really heavily promote. So that's not going to be a lore-heavy episode. You've got 2 episodes, and you want him to solve the multiverse that Marvel are probably going to be doing for the next 5 years, and you want him to do that in 2 episodes. Yeah. So when people are going, why is the universe fine now? I'm like, that's what I want to get us back to square one. I don't like things being a bit too tampered with when Doctor Who's like try to do things like this, but it goes like, everything you ever knew is a lie. I'm like, can we just have it back how it was?
Yeah. I went into it very much not really giving frankly. I was just like, I mean, oh, wow, this is better than what I'm used to. Not great, but it was better than what I was used to for the most part. And then when the finale was over, I like my rating system, I gave it a solid meh out of 10 because it's just fine. I didn't care for it. It didn't happen. I'm glad. The thing is, for me, the really low bar it had to pass was don't ruin anything, and it didn't. So I'm just kind of like, good, that's done. On to the next one. It's kind of like I'm just hoping Doctor Who just
moves on,
scrapes by until Russell T Davis's era.
Yeah,
that's what I'm just hoping for, and it's doing that right now. Yeah,
because that's the big. I mean, obviously, we are. If you are a regular listener, you will know we are avid criticizers of The Timeless Child. This series had about 3 mentions to it, and I was kind of fine with them. Those mentions being when she is retracing the steps of the fugitive Doctor, which does the whole thing with the black coat, and she sees the fugitive Doctor in the mirror and all that kind of stuff. That's one.
Yeah, actually quite an
and it was kind of just moment. Like it was in the as well. The episode was so confusing; it just bemused me anyway. So I was just kind of like going, "Is this a Timeless Child?" And then people pointed out, also, I guess the Carvanista is technically the Doctor's first companion. I was like, I mean, maybe, but whatever. I don't really know what's happening. So I was kind of, it confused me so much. It was kind of just like a flashbang, and you're like, I don't really know what's happening, but I'm all right. That's kind of.
Is it over?
yeah, basically. Good. That's how I am with that reference. The next reference will obviously be with Tecteun, and when the Doctor goes, "Is everything the Master said true?" And Tecteun goes, "Yes." Kind of like,
we didn't show us. So
I'm like, all right, but we still haven't seen it, so maybe there is still hope. Fine with that one. And the final one is when she has the fob watch and she just goes, nah, and drops it. I'm like, yeah, thank you.
So, but then she said, oh, only if I really ask for it. Doctor, don't ever ask for it. Okay.
But in 3 episodes' time.
Oh yeah, she's
gonna.
You know
what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you really think there's? I don't think it's. I don't think we're ever seeing that again.
I just really hope if we do see it again, if we do, I know this probably won't happen, but I'd like her to open it and nothing happens, because that'd be very much just like. To me, it'd be a real kind of. It'd give the people who don't like the Timeless Child something to latch onto with it not being real. And it opens the door for the Master lying, Tecteun lying, all that stuff being false. But if you do want to believe the Timeless Child, you can still believe that and just say, oh, well, the memories just went in the fob watch, or they can't be restored. It gives you something there. That would be such a perfect thing for me to happen. I'd love that, just nothing. And I think it'd be a real kind of twist, because I don't think people would expect it.
No, I mean, because when they opened the watch before, we did see stuff come out. But you can kind of go, but how much is there? What actually is in that watch?
Just our first ever cereal bar.
Yeah, and you kind of think if like the 12th Doctor, if he faked his own regeneration, and Bill shot him, they can fake coming out of a watch. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
I don't think that's concrete. It's like, well, yeah, but does that mean the 12th Doctor regenerated? No, he didn't.
It's like me using the promo for the 12th Doctor episode where he fakes his regeneration as proof that was a regeneration. It's like, no, I remember seeing that actually for the when I did my rewatch, and I'm just like, oh my god, oh, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I. The thing is, I get what they're doing, in the sense that it's kind of like, well, if you want to believe the Doctor's always been the timeless child but never knew about it before, that's kind of where we are now. It's like the timeless child is a thing, but the Doctor doesn't know anything about it. You go, well, this is where we always were. I get that, but I'm still like, but now you've brought it up. It's kind of like it's going to be in the back of my mind constantly, forever. Every single time I watch Doctor Who for the rest of my life, unless it gets retconned, I'll be going, look, it's the first Doctor. But is he? Do you know what I mean? Every single time. And that's what's damaged it for me. I may get over it in 35 years, but will I?
There is something, at least when you're kind of watching the older stuff, you can sit there and think, but at least when it was made, they didn't think that was a thing. But you're right. There's always a part of you thinking, it's either, the way I'm sitting there, I'm either annoyed by the fact that Timeless Child is a thing, or annoyed by what the Timeless Child does to this series I'm watching. Like when I watched the first ever episode of Doctor Who, I'm like, so this isn't the first. This is, what is this then? It really it's
and it's like I said, with now people are going, technically the Carvanista's the first companion. I'm like, all right,
didn't really like the Carvanista.
But isn't it so much more poetic? The Doctor's first companion is his granddaughter. Like you've just like, oh, you've already screwed Hartnell's legacy, and now you're like, Carol Ann Ford, I'm coming for you too. Do you know what I mean? It's like, can we stop tampering? Why does it need touching? If the fugitive Doctor was, oh, this is a future Doctor, I wonder what's going to happen. I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. Like in the same way they said the curator's going to be a future Doctor. Whatever. Fine with that. I don't care. We're never going to get to that point. But you go past Doctor, go, no, you've crossed the line now.
Because the point is we've seen every single iteration of the Doctor. We've seen their past lives. That's the point. We've seen it. We've lived it. We know the story and why they are who they are in that moment. And the bits we miss out are either in going to the loo or
sleeping.
Yes. Boring stuff. Or stuff that is so traumatic, it adds story and we hear the Doctor talk about that stuff and then we visit it slightly during specials, for example. That's what that does. So we know the character inside and out. It's the reason we can do a podcast like this, because we know the character, we know the world. But then if you throw something in which is just thousands of years before, it's like, well, I don't know anything about that. And it will be impossible for them to tell us everything about that.
Yeah.
So I can't, even if I liked the Timeless Child as a thing, I can never fully understand it and what it does to the Doctor's character. And therefore, I think it's just downright because of that. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah. And because it's that thing is, because the title of the show is Doctor Who. The point is we are not supposed to know who this person is. We don't know his name. We don't actually really know how old he is. 10th Doctor goes, I'm 900 years old. But the 6th Doctor said that as well. So it's kind of like, are you? Are you really? How old actually are you?
It's like me going around saying I'm still 21, I'm still 21 when I'm like 34.
Yeah, and it's... People say it adds mystery to it, but I think it doesn't, because we do know who the Doctor is now. If we know he was born on Gallifrey, that is fine, but we've never seen his family. We've never seen the first 500 or so years of his life. That's a nice mystery. When you go, the Doctor is a being from another universe, you go, I know who we are now. I can assume they were just born in this universe where people just regenerate, and now they've fallen here. That is the mystery removed.
Yes.
And by saying they've lived all these lives, also the character we know, we have a gauge on, we know their morals, we know how they'd act. We don't really know that anymore. And it's going, yeah, but now it's Doctor Who again. It's like, but is it? Because Doctor Who is a character, and I love that character, and I have done for the majority of my life. I now no longer feel like I have that character anymore because you've gone, oh, they're actually this person. I've gone, no.
Exactly.
No, thank you.
Because what I meant by what I said is that I love that we know who the Doctor is in the sense of the moles and all that stuff and the stuff we've seen them do. But obviously there is that mystery. We don't know who the Doctor is in that sense. But by bringing in the TARDIS child, exactly what you said, we now have no idea at all what the Doctor is. And by doing that, there is nothing for us to latch onto because it's not the same character. And it's not something we know, really. You can't have a mystery if you tell me every single detail about said mystery. It's like me telling you who killed who. It was Dave, but you don't have to believe that. So well, thanks.
Is that what you've told me who it is now? Yeah. So yeah, I think the original point was the Doctor dropping the fob watch into the bin. I hope we never see it again. I don't think we will. Because
I'd rather
Russell T Davies has praised Chibnall's stuff, but a lot of it sounds like, he's my friend, I need to be nice in public. When he's had his own thoughts on Twitter and whatever, it seems less positive. So I don't even think the words Timeless Child will ever be mentioned in his era. I think he's just going to sweep it under the carpet. We're not going to get, some people are thinking, he's going to retcon it. No.
That'd be the dream.
That's what I want, but he's not going to retcon it. He's not going to confirm it. He's going to completely ignore it. That's my honest gut feeling. I don't think I don't think it's ever going to be mentioned. So I think that the Doctor dropping that fob watch into the bin, as I'm calling it, because it just looks like a long dustbin to me. I think that is the last we are ever seeing of the Timeless Child. We're gonna get the Master in the Centuni special. The Master's in it.
Yes,
we know that. A runner was spotted on set holding a box that says Master Props. The Master Props. And somebody went, oh, I think the Master might be in this episode. And
subtlety.
I reckon
what the hell?
And I reckon that runner has probably been fired now. But
runner.
So we're getting the Master. We may get some stuff about the Timeless Child then. But because it's the centenary special, BBC are going to pump that full of promotion. And they're not going to want people watching that and going, huh? What is this? I want a Doctor Who. What's this? What am I watching? They're going to just try and make that a generic, fun Doctor Who story, is my honest feeling. So I think this is the last we are seeing the Timeless Child. I believe the arc has been completed.
I do have obviously have a hope on what I want from the Timeless Child, and that is complete retcon, and it's not being a thing. I just I have these ideas on what I want to happen, but no, you're right. Realistically, will Russell T Davies retcon something from previous era because that is a bit of a middle finger to the person who came before you, and I don't like any of what Chibnall's done, but I wouldn't, if I were in Russell T Davies' shoes, retcon it because it would be. It's just not nice, is it? You know,
because it's the same thing.
It's unprofessional.
It's the same thing we're saying about whenever Chibnall seems to ignore the Capaldi era. Remember stuff that happened, like the Master's development as a key example, by going, now the Master's evil again, despite Missy's entire arc. It's like, that's a disrespect to Moffat because you've clearly not paid attention to what he did. So it's the same thing. There are Chibnall fans out there. You know, people are welcome to that opinion. Just because we're critics of him doesn't mean there aren't people out there.
What you like.
I'm sure there will be people out there who says Chibnall is the best showrunner ever. If you think that, sure, but you're a fool. So people will say that if Russell T Davies comes in and goes, let's retcon it all, that they're going to be annoyed like we are with the Capaldi stuff. So you can't do that. I'd like him to. I'd like that. But the Timeless Child was. It's just the opening thing. The Doctor Who theme starts. It's just Russell T Davies. You know, when the face appears in the titles, it's Russell T Davies' face. And he just comes down and he goes, Timeless Child isn't canon.
We'd like that, but it's there are a lot of people who wouldn't, and that's just
so you can't.
Exactly.
You have to be middle of the road. You have to please everybody.
Or like Chibnall, please.
Nobody.
Like 2 people.
A handful of people.
No. But with the fob watch, if that's the best I'm going to get from it just never being mentioned again, okay, because then I can force it out of my brain, the Jodie era being not canon. I don't feel like I should have to do that because I feel like with Doctor Who and with Star Wars and stuff like that, the main thing that started is the thing.
Yeah.
that is just canon. That's just how it works, you know? With the comics, if I'm reading issue 1 of the New 52 era, Batman's story, and then I'm reading issue 9 of that story.
It's the same story.
Same story,
Yeah.
same universe. But if then I hop over to the Rebirth era, it's different. It's distinct. If I watch Batman v Superman, and then I watch Man of Steel, same universe. But then if I go watch Joker, different universe. If it's the same thing, then it is the same thing. That's what I'm saying. And it's annoying I have to force the Timeless Child out of my brain because
What I'm thinking the Timeless Child is going to follow is, I've mentioned this before, you even see a bit of it in the Timeless Child episode, is in the 1970s, there is a fantastic episode called Brain of Morbius. In that episode, the Doctor and Morbius have a mind battle, and there's a screen, basically, and it's basically, I think they call it like Time Lord chess, but you're playing with your brain.
Just shoot the other one.
So they're just there doing the big Time Lord battle, and it's just between their brains. And on this screen, it shows Baker's face, then Pertwee's face, then Troughton's, then Hartnell's. It's obviously counting back through Doctors. Then we see a bunch of other faces that are all the producers and directors of people just wearing silly hats and wigs and things, implying these are Doctors before Hartnell. That is not a new idea. Basically, after however many years, people just went, well, that storyline didn't go anywhere, we just forget about it. When Timeless Child comes around, you know that shot when she goes, ah, and it shows all the past faces. Those faces are included in that. So it's saying, yeah, these are past Doctors. The thing is, when it gets to, that episode's like 40, 50 years old now. So when I watched it, I was going, this is brilliant. Then it gets to that scene, I just go, well, it's not canon. They're just random faces. Do you know what I mean? You just come up with your own excuse. In 20 years, that's how we're going to see the Timeless Child.
Hopefully.
Because I honestly don't think it's ever really going to be built on again. I really don't think it is. If it is, it will change that, sure. But how I'm feeling right now is that in 20 years or so, we're going to go, well, the Timeless Child happened. I'm over it now. I've got a wife and kids. Well, not me. But but it's kind of just like, I'm over it. I didn't like it, so I'm not going to include it in my own canon. I'm going to watch Doctor Who series 1 to 10. Maybe I'll dip into a bit of series 13, and then I'll carry on from there.
What I want to happen is I want Jodie's era to be as much as I hate it, it is canon and it should be referenced. I believe that. But you don't have to reference it all, so just don't reference Timeless Child again. And move on.
Just move on.
Yeah.
Because there are things that do get introduced and just get forgotten.
Yeah. New Daleks.
Yeah. Some things that it's just like, yeah, this is a thing. Like TV movie. The Doctor goes, I'm half human on my mother's side.
Oh, yeah.
Gets to the reboot. We don't talk about that anymore.
Yeah.
Things just get introduced and we leave them. When people
basically what we're saying,
after a few years, if people don't like it, we just forget about it.
And basically what needs to happen for that to happen is it needs to be left alone by the show. Basically, the way to fix this, Doctor Who, whoever's listening, just Mr. Doctor Who, if you're listening,
just shut up.
Don't talk about Timeless Child ever again. And we'll fix it in our brain ourselves. Yeah. You don't need to lift
the way you can expand on it now, I think, is in expanded media. Because already then people go, is this canon? Isn't it canon? Who cares? I think a lot of Big Finish is canon. But there's stuff that I'd say you can go, well, that isn't.
I think any sort of expanded media for anything you can say is and isn't canon. That's just
because I always used to say Big Finish isn't canon until I started listening to it. Do you know what I mean?
And then the stories you really like, you can make them canon.
But then there's some. But then if you get something like there's the 8th Doctor story where he's with Mary Shelley and she sees Cyberman and she gives her the inspiration to create Frankenstein. Then there's the 13th Doctor episode where she's with Mary Shelley and she sees a Cyberman and gives her the inspiration to write Frankenstein. So when you see that, you go, well, one's in the TV show, so I'm afraid that has to take superiority over the audio. The audio might be better, but unfortunately the TV show has to take priority. Sorry, that's just how it is. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
So when things like that happen, boom, that kicks that out of the way.
It's kind of why Disney made a lot of the Legends universe for Star Wars non-canon, so they could do it themselves, basically.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of extended stuff. It kind of has to be non-canon canon kind of thing, because otherwise you can't really do any stories in the main thing. But if it's in the main thing, it is canon. So the best way to have us best way to fix something, if it's not a minor thing, if it's something that isn't fully fleshed out, you can leave it. When you have fully fleshed something else, you need a downright retcon to get rid of it, really.
Yeah. And
so don't go further with Timeless Child, just leave it.
And I'm sure Big Finish will probably do it in a few years. I mean, at the moment, they only actually have the license from Hartnell to Capaldi. They don't actually have the license for Jodie Whittaker. That's just a BBC thing. There is one where they do mention there is now a female doctor, but they can't do anything with that. That's just how the license works. So I'm sure in a few years, that license will get expanded. The 13th Doctor will be included. I'm sure Jodie Whittaker will do it. She doesn't seem like the type of person who turns work down because she accepted the Doctor despite never having seen it. So I'm sure she'll do it. And they might go, okay, let's do some Timeless Child stuff. And they'll probably make it ace. I'll probably listen to it and I'll go, this is amazing. Like they did with like the 6th Doctor. I hate the 6th Doctor on the TV show, and audio is brilliant. So it's just, I'm sure they will do something that is interesting. If you like the Timeless Child, go listen to it in about 15 years when it's out. If not, Doctor Who, just shut up and don't ever mention it again. So the ending with the fob, here we are, back to it. We spent about 25 minutes on
Jesus
this. That'll be trimmed down in the edit.
Just Timeless Child, don't touch it.
Yeah. Point is, some people are criticising dropping the fob watching. People are saying, what is the point of the Doctor searching for Carvanista and searching for people that have answers with the division if at the end she's just going to get rid of it? I'm going, because does she really want to know?
Basically, does the audience really want to know?
No.
Some of us don't, some of us do, and it's the best of both worlds solution, really.
Yeah. So that's that. I think a good way to move on to is the monsters.
Or episodes we liked as well.
Which one do you do first?
It's up to you.
So I've got all my tweets up.
It's a bit of narcissist.
No, I mean, so I can read them.
No, I know, but it's quite funny. But I've got all of my quotes.
I'm gonna save the I've got so many quotes here. Who are they by? Me. Aidan, who are you referencing? Myself.
I should do that in my essays. George Ellis said this once. Which George Ellis?
As said by George Ellis. 2020.
They get angry at you. But no, I did references. I referenced someone. You referenced yourself.
You referenced the previous paragraph.
All of my essays are just the same essay, just in
go to the bibliography, and it's just the title of the essay. It's just one loop. Then write another essay. I mean, oh my god!
If you write like a PhD on time loops, and if they're feasible, if you do that, you're a genius.
As I said in this paragraph, 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 in this paragraph.
Oh, it's wonderful.
In conclusion, at the end.
In conclusion, see above.
Flux.
Lovely.
Yeah, so we'll come on to my quotes later, I think. I do want to mention monsters first. I think that's a good way to go.
Yeah.
Because we've had new monsters and we've had returning monsters. We've already said what the f is the point of the Grand Serpent. I did really like his powers. I did really like him as a villain, actually.
We just think
I just think he should have been in his own separate episode.
We think he was wasted more than anything.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing that freaked you out the first time you saw it. You go, oh, I don't like that.
I like that I didn't like it, you know?
By the end, you go, right, I've seen this few minutes. I
didn't care.
I'm used to it now. But I thought he was really cool, to be honest. Swarm and Azure, I thought were really cool.
Cool.
Until the end, when they just kind of went, all right, that's the end of them. To be honest, I thought everybody was going, Bell and Vinda are the Doctor's parents. I was like, don't believe you. I thought Swarm and Azure were going to be the Doctor's parents from the other universe. That's what I thought the plot was going to be. Or parents, or people that knew her, or creators, something like that. But in the end, it was just kind of like, we were past enemies of you when you were working for the division.
I assume
and we
so.
want revenge. And it was kind of just like, oh, is that it? It's that whole scene with when it regenerated in episode 1, and then it went hunting for Azure on Earth. It was like, what was the point of any of that?
Yeah, why did it regenerate in the first episode and then never do that again?
Yeah.
I was expecting at least 4 or 5.
What was the significance of that? If you're going to do that, you're showing us, here's something this person can do. Remember this for later. But we're never going to mention it again later because it's completely irrelevant.
Because basically what they were doing seemed a lot like kind of Time Lord powers, but evil.
That's what I was expecting.
A dark
That's
regeneration.
That's why I was expecting it to say. This is somebody connected to the Doctor or the Time Lords in some way. And this is where the regeneration originates from. That kind of thing. But it was kind of like irrelevant. And why is Azur hiding out on Earth? We never got answers for that.
Yeah. Right, you can set up the characters.
These are the things.
You've got to give us reasons that the characters were doing things.
These are the things I'm saying. The Halloween Apocalypse went, here are these things. And I went, if these aren't paid off, these are going to be crap. And everybody's going, they will be paid off. And they weren't.
Some stuff was paid off, albeit paid off badly. But now that you mention it, a lot of stuff just wasn't even paid off.
Wasn't even mentioned
There's
again.
so much that should have been cut. It's ludicrous.
Yeah.
How many episodes did Chibnall think he was going to write?
I'm assuming he thought it was going to be 10 episodes because that's how many were in series 11 and 12. And then COVID meant they had to reduce it. But it's like he looked at his whiteboard, looked at his ideas and went, I like that idea too much to cut it. I'm going to include it.
Mm-hmm.
And you kind of think, should have just bit your lip and cut some of that and gone. Because, it's not like you're never going to have the chance to write Doctor Who again. Look at Russell T Davies. Russell T Davies has written some Big Finish. Like, you can come back and do Doctor Who again. If you want to include any of these ideas, you can. You can write a novel. Do you know what I mean? You can do whatever you want. And I feel like he should have just either saved some for the specials or saved it for when he's done on Doctor Who. Because there was just too much. Were there any other new villains that we hadn't seen? There was the Passenger, but they really came with Solomon Azur, and there wasn't really a villain. It was just kind of a walking cabinet, really, wasn't it? There weren't any others I can think of. There was the Flux, obviously.
Yeah, but the Flux wasn't an alien.
But it's not a...
They had Tech Tayun actually be a person in our time. They had that.
Yeah, and I did like her, actually. I thought it made sense for it to be Tech Tayun. It was obvious it was Tech Tayun. It wasn't like, who is that going to be? There was some people theorizing, oh my God, it's Rassilon. I was like, no, it's clearly Tech Tayun, isn't it? Like, it's not going to be anybody else. Somebody went, it's the Master. I was like, it's clearly Tech Tayun. But, someone even said it was the, the woman in the end of time who's supposed to be the Doctor's mom, but might not be. Someone says it was like, it's Tech Tayun.
Yeah, right,
I can assure you it's Tech Tayun.
Yeah. But then...
I thought she was good, to be honest. I thought she was quite menacing, quite threatening. I did actually like her. But I don't think there were any other new villains. No. So we'll talk about, I think the biggest second one down for this series is the Sontarans.
I like the Sontarans. It's one of their...
I think it's their best New Who appearance.
It was nice seeing original Sontarans because I've never properly seen them really. Like, obviously, I've seen you show me pictures being like, look at this, and I'm like, cool. But it's nice actually seeing...
what Sontarans should be, quote unquote.
Massive warfare, massacring everyone. Missing most of the time in this series, unfortunately, though. But, no, it was nice seeing them, and I think they had the strongest presence as well, especially in their standalone episode.
Which is, I actually posted, I don't know if you saw it, but I've posted my new Whittaker era ranking, and War of Sontarans is my number 1 episode. I thought it was damn perfect. I had no faults with it.
That's nice that you enjoyed it like that. No, it's definitely one of the stronger ones. Probably one of my probably second-ish favourite.
Probably after the Angels one, I'm assuming. Yeah, which was my number 2. So
fair enough.
We're just flipping them. But no, I thought this Sontarans was seriously good. There's been criticism of the chocolate scene, but I just thought it was quite funny because it was Dan Starkey playing that Sontaran, and he's just kind of we've already seen a silly Sontaran in the form of Strax, so you just got to assume and Sontarans are one of the more silly villains. They are. I showed my boyfriend a picture of them, and the first thing he said was, "Why have you just sent me a picture of a potato in a suit?" That was like do you know what I mean? That they are just stupid villains. So I think you have to kind of just go, accept it. They are silly. The wider public think they're stupid. So let's make them threatening, but let's address the elephant in the room. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So
they're weird. They're like all villains and aliens in Doctor Who. They design weird in a little bit. Yeah. So it's a TV show about a person who travels through space and time in a blue box. It's a bit weird. So it's nice that they're kind of showing that, and it doesn't detract away from the Sontarans, because it wasn't like the entire Sontarans were having a chocolate break.
No, it's just one.
Yes.
For what? How long will that scene last? 2 minutes most, if that, including the bit where the Doctor comes in.
It's
never mentioned
really,
again. Yeah. I thought it was fine. So I thought Sontarans were pretty damn good, and I will say they are. This is in my opinion, this is their best appearance in New Who, because it's just like, yeah, Sontarans, I have no fault with this. Sure. Yeah, I like the David Tennant episode. I love it, in fact. When they do all the stuff with the Martha clone, you're kind of like, right, what are you doing now? That's when I start to lose it a bit. So I think this is perfect. I think the next one down with the most prominent impact on the series has got to be the Weeping Angels, hasn't it?
I think the Weeping Angels, as you hinted earlier, was my favourite episode of the series.
My number 2.
If not my favourite episode of
Whittaker era.
Yes. Because the Angels are great, and they were done very well in it. They were scary. They were... All right, they weren't... They were worse design, because it was a new team or whatever, but in motion, looked fine. But in like the promo images, it was just like terrible. But
it's the face, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Everything else is fine. When they're doing that, they look fine. Even when they're doing the scream thing, I thought they looked fine. It's just when they've got the standard face, you can go, is this a new special effects team? Yeah, it is. Yeah, I can tell. It felt like they, not even sure if they were trying to do a redesign. It felt like they were trying to do the same thing and just couldn't. That's what it felt like to me.
Yeah.
But like, how did they do that? I don't really know.
But it's something which you can just kind of let slide. You notice it slightly, but it's
you get used to it.
Yeah, within the story, eventually you're in there and you're kind of watching Doctor Who fight Weeping Angels. But no, I really enjoyed it, because I think it was just nice seeing kind of Jodie's Doctor fight the Weeping Angels, and I think she did it in a very kind of old school doctory way, you know, kind of just smart by herself for the most of it.
Yeah.
I just really enjoyed it.
Oh, while we're here, I will just point out Yaz and Dan, because you've just said by herself. Something we've always pointed out when we've watched past Whittaker episodes on this podcast. We've always said she's best when she's on her own. Best when she's on her own, separated from the companions, great. In this is the first time when she's with the companions, she's actually good. I do still think she is better actually on her own. But even when she's with Yaz and Dan, I actually, Yaz has gone from like bottom of the barrel companion to me to
a little bit higher.
So I was about to say middling, but I'd say maybe she's just below middling. Do you know what I mean? 60%, that kind. Well, 40%. She used to be 10%. She's now 40%. Do you know what I mean? I really enjoyed her in this series. Dan, I really thought I was going to hate him. In episode 1, I couldn't stand his acting. I got used to it by the end.
Yeah, it is just John Bishop being John Bishop. But I found him more entertaining than any other Jodie companion, apart from like Yaz, obviously. But I will agree with you there. I do think Doctor stronger by herself, but with Yaz, especially in that first episode, you actually saw a companionship there.
Yeah.
And then with Dan getting introduced, there was a companionship in a sense there, but it was more between Yaz and Dan because they were together so much. But I think
the Sheffield Liverpool thing.
Yeah, I think that's nice though. I think the thing with Dan though, I never felt like when he was on screen with Yaz and the Doctor, I never felt like it was as bloated as it later becomes or had been in the previous series.
It felt fine.
Because I think the thing about John Bishop is he very much wanted to be there and he very much was just happy to be there. And that brought a sense of joy to the performance and to the little team. And that never feels like it's in the way, you know? When you're in a room with like if you're in a room with like 2 people and then a third person joins, but that third person just integrates himself, is quite funny, doesn't kind of bring the mood down, then you're okay with them being there. And that's what I feel like Dan did. Whereas if you're watching kind of Ryan show up.
And Graham.
Yeah, they both actively make the mood quite... And it's a... Bloated is always a problem. But you can have lots of things and somewhat make it interesting by just making the characters nice. Yeah,
so I didn't want to do a full section on them because I haven't really got a whole lot to say.
Well, there's your section.
But it is just like, I did enjoy them. I did. I have no problem. Because I was used to say, like, there's an episode in the first series where, not the first, Whittaker's first series, where Graham is sat next to Yaz and he goes, "You're amazing, you know, you've conquered so much and you've done so much." And you sit there and go, "What? What has she done?"
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's like literally like, give me a list. What has she done? But by this time, there is no moment where they go, "You're amazing, you." But if they did, I've got a list now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she's traveled the world. She's done these things. She spent 15 years away from the Doctor, however long it was. It's like, yeah, you've earned your place as a companion. So I feel like she's earned her role to be a companion now.
Yes.
It took her 3 series. Whereas,
Better late than never.
Whereas,
huh?
like, you know, if you think about like Rose does it in the first episode, Martha does it in the first episode, Donna does it in the first
usually
episode.
companions prove themselves before they become a companion.
Yes. This was like, you've been a companion now for what? 3 years? Okay, well, why? All right, fair enough. And Dan, I'd say, proved himself in this series as well. Not straight away, but across the series. Which is why it made it very confusing why that woman from the museum is like, "No, don't talk to me. You are late to the date." Man's just saved the universe. Get over yourself, you bitch.
I know, what was that about?
I don't know.
What did he... What? I'm sorry I was late for the date. I got kind of kidnapped. The world's kind of ending. We saved the universe together and all that. But hey, what can I say?
Well,
It's...
He could have gone, "Well, you didn't show up either." Should have gone, "Yeah, I was trapped in the passenger." You know what I mean?
You just like, go f*** yourself. And then just left.
You've both been through this whole thing. There's only, like, you know, I've always said something, but friends, relationships, something that you strive on to have in common is shared experiences. You've had the most shared experience ever. And you're like, "No, get away from me."
You can have them not want to be together because of the trauma of the event, but you can't just have them not be together because of him being late.
It's just stupid.
Very strange.
So yeah, I don't want to see her again.
So the resolution of their romance at the start was no romance. That's not a resolution. That's just a...
I'm glad that he joined the TARDIS at the end. Only because I really liked the character by the end. Ordinarily, I'd go, "Oh, I don't want to see any more John Bishop," because I don't really like him as a comedian. But I'd be like, you know, I don't want to see any more of him. But the fact that there's 3 episodes left, I'm like, yeah, I can accept him for 3 more episodes.
Yeah.
It's staggered across next year as well, so I don't even have to take all in one go. See you at New Year, and then, I don't know, maybe Easter time, and then when's the last one? Halloween, maybe ish. I'm fine with that. What were we talking about? Angels. And you said the Doctor separated, managed to defeat them on her own.
That's what I said. Yeah, all right.
Continue.
No, I really just liked seeing the Doctor fight the angels in a very kind of Doctor fighting the angels sense. It was nice, more because the angels, you can't just shoot them. You have to use your brains. And it was nice how the episode set up a mystery and kind of paid off that mystery and set it up as something scary. Because we've seen angel stories, we've seen them be scary, but we've also seen them be a bit over the top. The lady, Statue of Liberty. I was going to say Lady of Gotham, but that's very much a Batman thing. No, the Statue of Liberty, like we've seen it there. It's
in Ghostbusters 2.
Yes. No, but it's nice. Like, it was nice just seeing a more grounded angel story for a little bit. Went a bit weird in places, but it was nice seeing that and them just being purely scary. Like, there's some great moments. For example, I like just the bit where it's where you know, the little picture of the angel, it's all coming out. That was terrible. Like, not great special effects. When they set the paper on fire, then it's just a burning weeping angel. I'm like, holy shit, that's incredible.
When you said there was a scary scene, that was the first thing my mind went to. I was going to go, what, the bit when the angel was on fire? That was the first thing my brain thought of.
Like, it's so like, because it's like, that's a bit of a weird effect. And if it were just, they ripped up the paper and it was gone, I would have been like, kind of scary. Didn't look great. And then when it's just a burning angel, it's like, holy is there anything scarier? Because that just shows you can't kill them, can you?
Because I gave War of Some Torrens 9 out of 10. Didn't give it a 10. I know I've said it's perfect. I didn't give it a 10 because 10 is Waters and Mars, human nature. You know, they're 10 out of 10 episodes. It's a 9 for me. And I gave Village of the Angels an 8. And I think maybe because there are a few things that I kind of thought, do I like that? Like the woman, Claire, was it? And they were like, she has a psychic projection. I was like, all right, whatever. You know, I mean, it's things like that where I'm like going, you've lost me a little bit.
Yeah.
But sure, I'll go with it. It felt just a bit like, Like, why? Again, that's another thing we didn't need in Halloween Apocalypse. She didn't need to be there.
No, it was very much kind of like
there was no reason why she
could've-
had to be a modern character.
That's what I'm gonna say. Yeah,
She should've just been from the
other than
60s.
just for the first episode to set stuff up, which was pointless anyway. There was no need for the first episode. Honestly, could have been cut down to maybe a 20-minute short,
Or a trailer.
maybe. It's Again, my problems with the Angels episode isn't to do with anything the episode itself is doing standalone. It's all
The
to do with
series
stuff
problem,
that
yeah.
has to link in with the Flux.
That's really. I think if that episode was completely standalone in a separate series, Village of the Angels, that bloody title alone would give it a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, I know exactly what
Like
you
if
mean.
that episode didn't have fluxy elements in it, I'd been like, well done, Chim. This is the best thing you've ever written in your life.
Mhm.
But the fact, technically it was co-written, so maybe
Best thing you-
Maxine Alderton
Best
probably
thing
did
you
all the best
overseed,
bits.
maybe.
Yes, oversaw.
Oh, thanks.
So, yeah, I did really enjoy it. I did think it was amazing.
Mhm.
I just said it's an 8 out of 10, so you can't go, why do you think I just said it's 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
But it's like, there are a few things that I kind of go, oh.
And there was a rumor saying that we'd see them move as well.
Yeah, there was a rumor that said we'd see them fly. That never happened. That we'd see wings flapping and stuff. That never happened. But I suppose we did when the Doctor transformed.
Yeah, I was about to say, but that doesn't
But that's
count.
not count. That doesn't count. No.
'Cause that's not an angel. I'm just glad we never saw an angel's true form.
Yeah.
But
But yeah, I think I was worried. I was worried for how the Weeping Angels would be written, and came out of it and was like, no, that was good.
Yeah.
I do really like that it does say in the credits what Weeping Angels created by Stephen Moffat.
I know, I spotted
I
that
noticed
as well.
it also said Ood created by Russell T Davis
Hey.
and Daleks created by Terry Nation. I've never really noticed them do that in past series before, but they're doing that a lot now.
Maybe they did, but we were so young, we were like just names.
I mean, Terry Nation's always been there. A lot of the classic ones always have been because they have to for licensing.
Yes.
But I don't believe Moffat owns the rights to the Weeping Angels.
Almost certainly not. Like
I don't believe Russell Davis owns the rights to the Ood.
It's probably
I
because
also don't think Russell Davis created the Ood because he didn't write that episode they were in originally.
nowadays it's probably a thing such as if you're writing for this company, we own every single thought you ever have.
Yeah.
That's basically it.
Yeah.
So
Because it was different rules back then for comics and things like that.
Yeah.
I was going to say something else. What was I going to say? I don't know what I was going to say. It's irrelevant. Oh, the Doctor transforming. Great cliffhanger. Terrible resolution. Great cliffhanger.
great cliffhanger, terrible resolution, terrible CG, but I liked what they were going for.
Yeah,
so
like,
I just was like,
the-
yes.
It's one of those things you go, you know what? I like the idea. You were in COVID. I'll let it off.
Mhm.
You probably did it on After Effects. I'll let you off.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? It's like the last episode of Hawkeye. When they shot that thing onto the car and all those bubbles came out, that looked horrendous.
Oh wow, when it was getting wiped away,
And I was
terrible.
like, this looks awful. But you were in COVID. I'll let you off.
Yes.
So that's how I felt. But I thought it was
Every
great.
film that comes out that came out during COVID, and it'll be it was made during COVID, just come with a little stamp just before. Made in COVID, forgive us.
Like Shang-Chi.
Well, that was anyway.
When the bus went around the corner, I was like, I could do that better. But he says, yeah, but great cliffhanger. I thought probably one of the best cliffhangers New Who has ever done. Really. And I didn't see that coming. Did you see that coming? Did you ever think the Doctor would get turned into a Weeping Angel? I didn't. I thought it was a great cliffhanger. By the end of it, the first few seconds of the next episode, cracks out of it. It's
Yep.
like,
Thanks
oh,
for that.
okay. Like you were saying, you speak to somebody who was saying, our friend Joel, who was saying,
He
do
mentioned.
you think the Doctor will spend the entire episode as Weeping Angel?
Do you think maybe he'll chase the companions or something? And I immediately was like, probably not, but maybe. And then
Yeah.
it was immediately nothing.
Not
Yeah,
even a shred of that.
no, not a shred of anything of her being an angel, other than just it being
A way
transport,
to transport her from there
which
to there.
again,
It's like, have you ever heard of teleports? Do you know what I mean? And why do you need to be a Weeping Angel? Well, okay. But all that stuff like, you are recalled to division. I loved all that. I did really like that. Because that's the thing. Timeless Child is one thing. Division as a concept, actually, I do really like. I do.
Illuminati / Court of Owls.
Yeah, because it's always
secret society.
I've always loved the idea of the Time Lords being like, we are the Time Lords, and we do these things. We don't interfere. Yeah, there's the Doctor, he interferes. There's the Master, he interferes. There's the Monk, he interferes. Oh, there's the... Do you mean there's always been so many contradictions in Time Lord society? And I've always liked the idea that there are these just categories. There is the High Council, who are like, we are the High Council. Anyway, put that damn beat in the Master's head so we can track him down. And they do all these dodgy things. So when you go, there's the division that not even the High Council know about. I like that. I like that as a concept. I like the idea that they are using agents from other species, so there's no dirt on their hands.
Adds layers, and it's nice. Yeah.
I love it as a concept. If this bloody series was like, just, if they'd gone, you know, if the Timeless Child reveal wasn't Timeless Child, if it was like the Doctor, you used to work for the division, but we wiped your memory, but it was the first Doctor, I'm even fine with that.
I could cope with it.
I'm like, yeah, because I'm like going, it is that Doctor. He wiped his memory. Maybe he found out or had some inkling that something was wrong, and that's why he ran away.
Rather than them...
Fine.
Because then that gives
that's even like, this planet isn't safe. I even need to take my family with me.
And that also, that's the idea of the Doctor realising quite quickly the division of... You know? Whereas with... And it's quite good. But instead, what we might have with the... Like what opens the door for it being is the Timeless Child being with the division for a ludicrous amount of time. Longer than perhaps we've seen the Doctor now. So it's kind of like, so was the Doctor ever really the Doctor we know? Or was it always someone who would go through those, would they do like a billion terrible things and then one slightly worse thing is what they don't do? It's like, that's not good.
You could say, is actually the War Doctor more like any of the other, is the War Doctor the real person and the Doctor's just, you know what I mean? That kind
is the Doctor just a dick, basically? Yeah. Whereas with it being the first Doctor, but realizing quite quickly, it's like, Doctor probably was just duped quite quickly, and it's just like, yeah, I was good with the saving the people, but the murdering the children, no thank you.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Division as a concept, I actually like.
Yes.
So that, I recall to Division. Quite weird that they did drop the from the title as well. Did you notice? As the series went along, nobody bothered saying the Division anymore. It just became Division.
I mean, it's like Batman. It's the Batman. It's just Bats.
Yeah, it was kind of like that. I'm sure I saw a line that's memed a lot, because there's a line where the Doctor says, "What do you know about division?" And somebody put that and went, "My maths teacher." What do you know about division? Do you mean that kind of thing? Yeah. I did like, but yeah. Weeping Angel was very good. Cybermen, Daleks, glorified cameos. Really didn't really do much, did they?
Probably licensing thing.
They were there. Cybermen really frustrating because I love their heads. But the rest of the body, am I going to hate
terrible.
You?
It doesn't mix. It's a weird, futuristic,
the top
old
is so
school.
classic. The top looks like that one that's in Dalek, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I'm like going, I love this helmet. Why are the spikes on your shoulders? Like, what are you doing? What is going on there?
Gotta look cool, you see, cool and edgy. That's what's in. They changed the Cybermen design for the worse, but the Dalek design doesn't change ever.
No, they've ditched the plungers. We don't see the plunger anymore. We've not seen that. We've not seen a Dalek with a plunger. I don't think. Maybe a small appearance in Revolution of the Daleks. But as far as I'm aware, we've not seen a prominent Dalek with a plunger since the Capaldi era.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like, where did that go? But also, if you're going to give us a Dalek redesign, change the whole thing.
Yeah. Like,
why have we still got Time War Daleks?
This new one...
don't have any mentions of the Time War anymore.
This new one would have been perfect for there being a redesign. Weird spiky ball thing.
And Gatling gun.
Gatling gun. I love it. Perfect. Time for a redesign. Perfect. And I think, because we saw a promo image where it was, maybe we thought, is it a darker colour scheme? Or is
it looked much darker.
Yes, or
I'll put it up. Here somewhere. Here is the Dalek.
He's going to put it over here. But
Dalek.
Yes. No, all right. No, but we thought it was maybe a darker colour scheme, but it turned out from other pictures that it was just the lighting. And I thought that was a nice, maybe a darker kind of green with really prominent baubles as kind of gold.
Because they looked really shiny on that.
It looked really nice. And I was very much like, okay, it's not a complete redesign. Like, you've kept the overall shape.
But I'll take that.
But you've done a new colour scheme. And I'm like, right, lovely. Let's have that for a little bit. Another behind-the-scenes promo image comes out.
Of that Dalek.
And it's just the Time War
It was just
design.
Purely lighting
and it's just like, thanks for that.
Yes. I think that wraps up our talking after 1 hour 40.
Lovely.
Ratings time.
Are we going to do each episode?
We'll go through each episode. There's only 6.
No, because I've got to, it's either.
Halloween Apocalypse.
4.
I'm gonna work out your. I'm gonna work out.
My average.
Well, I'll get. Oh,
No, 5
do 5 for you. You say.
for the first one. Yeah.
I've also given it a 5. Episode 2. That's War of the Sontarans.
Oh, 7.
7. I've given it a 9.
Lovely.
3. Once Upon a Time. The trippy one.
Oh, like 2. That's
2. I give it a 3. 4. Village of the Angels.
what did I give? 9. No,
9.
8. 8. No,
8.
8. 8.
9. 8 or 9?
8.
8.
Because Arcane I gave a 9, so.
Okay, I've also given it an 8. Episode 5, Survivors of the Flux. The one we can't really remember, but we both enjoyed.
Well, I've been thinking good bits about it, so I'd probably give it like a 6, maybe.
6, I give it 7. And the finale. You can remember that because we watched it yesterday.
5.
5. I give it a 6. Your average, 5.5 for the series.
Fine.
My average, 6.3.
Yep, that sounds about
Seems
right.
about right.
Yeah.
I think. Because this is the other thing I was working out.
I would have
earlier.
probably given the series, if I had to give it just one number, a 6. What I probably would have done. So that
Yeah,
seems
so
about right.
round that up, and you are there. Do you know when we did the first review for this, the Halloween Apocalypse,
Yes.
and I mentioned my rough average for the Whittaker era. When I went home, I then worked that out because I was that bored and had nothing to do. I thought I'm really curious.
Back in a time when Aidan had nothing to do.
Back in a time when I didn't have a job, I didn't have overwhelming uni work to do, when I didn't have a boyfriend, all these things when I was a sweet and innocent life. Not anymore. But I worked out, this is how bored I was. I worked out my average for each series of the revival.
Jesus.
But to be fair, this does come in handy on the podcast, so it was kind of like research. What it was, my average for each series of the revival, and then for each Doctor. All right, so I've updated this. So for Whittaker, her first series 4.6, second series 2.2. That was low. Third series 6.3. So it's a vast improvement.
Yes.
Especially from 2.2 to go up to 6.3, which overall brings her era to 4.4.
Yeah.
Which seems about right. If you look at compare that to the 9th Doctor, my average is 7.7, 10th Doctor 8, 11th Doctor 7, 12th Doctor 7.6, 13th Doctor 4.4. So that's your little statistics part of the podcast.
Yes.
Statistics.
Just shut up.
Do you know what I'm doing?
I'm going to punch someone in a
You know
minute.
what that is, don't you?
Yeah.
Good. Don't really know how to end this now.
No. So join us
overall.
next time.
Overall.
At some point.
Overall, I should have been wearing my overalls. We are quite delirious now. Okay, we need to end this immediately. I enjoyed Flux. I did.
Yes. Best Jodie series.
Yes. Could have been better.
Could have been.
You could have trimmed. Not you could have. You should have trimmed a lot from it. But generally, if the rest of the Whittaker era is like this, I will enjoy it. So let's hope Eve of the Daleks, great title, follows this kind of style.
Yes, keep it up, basically.
Yes.
You could do better.
Yes.
But if this is what is from here on out,
because it's been so low. If there's if this is all you can manage, sure, I'll accept that. I just at least keep it at this level.
I agree with everything you've just said there, and you can then join us when we're back.
So this
is
officially our last episode of the year. Wasn't supposed to be. We're supposed to have 3.
Sorry.
We're supposed to have about 3 or 4 more after this.
Yeah.
No, 1, 2.
Well, let's not.
We're supposed to have 3 more after this.
Yeah.
However, we're just too.
We've lost the will to live.
We're too damn busy. So we will be back. I'm aiming for, now this is not going to be confirmed, but I'm aiming for the 23rd of January to be back.
Maybe, right. Just after deadlines.
Maybe the week before, but I doubt it. So the 23rd is when we will probably be back with Rosa.
Yes.
So again, there's another episode promising Rosa. It's got to be a good episode now. I've built it up for this long, haven't we? About 6 weeks.
Oh, so what's your least favourite episode of EDW? That Rosa one.
Rosa one. Why? They didn't really know what they were doing, did they? I think it was too long since they did it. But no. Join us then. And until then, goodbye.
Thank you very much for listening, everyone. See ya.